Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is really just wealth. It's you have wealth, you don't need your neighbors. I don't need anybody here. That seems to be the American dream of just getting away from people.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to go back in a couple months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And I will find a way to even on vacation, even just visiting, to keep doing these calls, because this is still my one true love, and I want to continue doing this. But yeah, enough about me.
You do it every day, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and that's manageable. That's something that you can. Clearly you're happy to kind of fit into your, already probably busy life. It's yeah. I guess if it's something that you love as deeply as you do, then why not?
Yeah, and it seems to be going well. I mean, in 200 calls, I've had some challenges, but I haven't had anything that's oh no, this is a bad idea. It just hasn't happened yet. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I read your little feedback things that you put on the individual episodes, and I'm always surprised. I never feel the things that you pick up that you feel that you may have done, in inverted commas, wrong or could have done differently. I don't ever get a sense of that. So just some feedback for you. It doesn't ever feel like anything but grace.
Wow. Well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
We'll keep testing that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a practical thing just to check in about how the system works.
Mm-hmm.
In that, my understanding was that you would send a recording to me before it was published.
Yes.
And that definitely happened with the first call. And then the second call just appeared on the podcast.
Oh.
And actually, I don't mind that, but I just wanted, I have parts that do.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I wanted to flag it. Mm.
Okay. Yes, it's my intention to do that. And
Okay.
it's true that with most, it's my intention, yes, to share the call with you before publishing. It's also true that many callers, we do end up in that kind of, more like the default is to publish, and they'll, we'll stop it if anything comes up, or, we usually know, okay, this one we definitely want to listen back to first. So I apologize if I did not communicate, or just what I just said, and also if I didn't share that call with you before publishing, that was an error, and I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's what I thought was the process, and so I just wanted to clarify that, because I am happy to just for you not to send it, but I just needed to know, for us to have a conversation about it.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah. And I know that since then, you and I have had at least probably 2 calls where you're saying, I don't know about this one, like in the call, you're saying this one's kind of heavy, or we're going places. And so those I definitely flag with like extra flags and say, okay, regardless of whatever agreement, like, this one I need to listen back to fully. I need to, make sure that I'm sharing it and getting kind of double permission. So I do have those notes on a few of ours. But
I definitely remember it from our last call. And so, let's roll with that then, that unless you have notes saying something along those lines, then I'm happy for you to publish without me listening. But if you think that there's a reason to listen before that, then I'll follow that.
Thank you. And again, sorry for not doing that and having that conversation earlier.
No problem. The part is happy now. So I'm ready to tuck in when you are.
Yeah, how about a minute of meditation?
Sounds great.
Okay, I'll set a timer. Okay. So I do have a note about last time, just about something that I had mentioned following up on. So if you want to discuss what we talked about last time or hear anything about that, I'm happy to do that. And if not, if you have any other parts you'd like to explore today, get to know better, we can start there.
I remember us discussing that at the end or sometime during the last session, and we talked about following up and not just kind of, or that there was a good thing in following up, which I would like to do. And I also know that this morning when I was thinking about us having the call, I had a big internal reaction and of fear and anxiety, and just now sitting in that meditation, that part is very present still. So I guess as much as I don't want to, jump into another part and then another part and kind of leap around from session to session, I also recognize the merit of being with the present moment as it is. Absolutely. And what's happening right now is this feeling, sensation. So
yeah, especially when they're
maybe
feelings of fear, concern.
Yeah. So I suppose it feels right to start there with what's happening in the present moment rather than sort of trying to hook onto something from weeks ago.
Okay. Great. So yeah, you can just welcome that part that has that fear and anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. So to preempt your question, it's located in the solar plexus area.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a burning sensation there.
My next question would be, how are you feeling towards it?
Concern and confusion. And curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Is there concern about getting to know it?
The concern is with its being there. Like, why did that happen? Why did that strength of feeling come in response to thinking about the call?
Mm-hmm.
There's another concern part which has to do with, because it feels sort of exile-y. And so there's a concern part that doesn't want us to dive into an exile too quickly.
Great. Well, thank you for thank that part for looking out for that.
But at the same time, it feels so strong, that it's hard to ignore it.
Yeah. And, if this is an exile, then we can talk about ways to respond to that. There's no hard and fast rule that you couldn't contact it and learn about it up front. We just want to make sure that you are in self energy when you're doing that. And, and we would check in with protectors first. And
yeah. There's a lot going on.
Okay.
I just
feel it. Go ahead.
When I try to do any kind of IFS work on my own, James, I just don't get anywhere. I find it really hard, and I'm sort of going into thinking mode now, but I know the goal is for me anyway, the goal is to be able to, is for self-healing, is to learn how to access this work on my own. This thinking part, very familiar now, is just very present, very talkative, very dominating.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm trying to say that I recognize that thinking part is going to have something to say about anything that we do or try to do.
Okay. Does it have concerns, or is it waving flags about doing this, or does it just want to add its commentary and explanations?
Possibly the latter. Not too sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The strongest thing that's happening right now is this feeling in my body, is this sensation in my solar plexus. That's the most dominant thing that's happening right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you can ask any of those other parts to step back, ask the thinking part for a little space, and extend that curiosity to that fear, anxiety. Just see what's up. Just see what it wants you to know.
I'm just going to stay quiet for a bit because it often takes time for me to be able to answer that question. When I say I mean for me to let parts answer it. So just give me a sec. I'm just getting I'm scared.
Okay. Just let it know that you see that you're okay with it, showing you how it wants to be or is being. Let it know that it can talk to you. And as always, that none of it has to be shared with me.
So it's kind of sensing a glimmer of self. Which makes it feel less alone. It thought it was on its own.
Mm-hmm.
The thinking part is looking for the answers, looking for the dialogue.
Maybe you can, again, you can just ask the thinking part to step back, or you can negotiate with it. You know, maybe the thinking part needs a crossword puzzle to do or something. Some other part it can go chat with.
I'm just reassuring it that this is safe. And I'm not going to do anything that isn't safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cynic part showed up.
Cynic.
Yeah,
None of this is real.
Parts. So I'm just, just maybe thinking they might like to have a chat together. amuse each other for a bit.
Yeah. There's so much in this world that they can pour over and learn about. They can also, another negotiation could be like, we can promise to come back to them and hear their input. After you spend 5 minutes with this part or whatever, you can negotiate that too.
I'm getting a bit jumbled, I think.
Okay.
It feels rusty. It feels accessing self feels rusty, and
okay.
So
it's all right. It's all right.
I recognize that I recognize that and this is a sort of ongoing pattern of, I have a call with you and then I just don't revisit, and then I have another call and then I don't revisit. And so there's not a continuity of the work. And, so what's coming up is I've made promises or assertions to various parts that I will make connections with them. And what I'm getting now is self is asking for that. Self is asking that does that make sense?
Self is asking that you
spend just time getting to know and checking in with self.
Yeah.
So that there's an ease, great ability to drop into self.
Okay.
In this context.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly, what that would look like for you or necessarily what that means. I'm referring kind of back to what we had discussed a while ago about this kind of process of subtraction.
Yeah.
And, just that kind of understanding that self's already there and fully capable, fully has all the tools. And so, I don't know, the way I think about it, getting into self isn't turning anything on, isn't climbing any mountain.
Okay, so then maybe I'm saying, I don't know what I'm saying. What is the specificity of it is? I just recognize that it's hard to access self.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and I heard you say earlier about, it sounded like just having some frustration or disappointment or about, this sense of not getting anywhere on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can talk about that. We can talk about, your practice, what it looks like, what you'd like it to look like, any of those things. I am curious if the fear and anxiety is related to that. Is the fear and anxiety related to, well, because I don't get anywhere on my own, I don't know, this feels like I'm doing it wrong or something like that?
Yeah. I'm not sure if they're connected, but yeah, I mean, I think that what's coming up now in this moment that we're talking about is, it is about practice. You said what your practice is, and I recognize that. I know the need. I know the importance and necessity of practice, and how I can self-sabotage that and not do it. And
yeah. Which is,
and then everything just feels very chaotic. Yeah, completely. Yeah, and I guess I can have compassion for it because it's no doubt parts that are doing. Of course, it's parts that are doing 100%. That, and they have their reasons.
100%. Yeah. Yep. There are parts that are invested in maybe you not doing this. There are parts that are invested in the 1,000 other things that you have to do in a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's all valid.
Yes, it is all valid.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the benefits of having a daily practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just get, the older I get, just the less it makes sense, the more confusing things are, the more there's not much to hold on to.
The less that your inner system makes sense? Or just life and things? Or something else?
More life and the world and just everything. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
I have the same.
Mind, nature.
Absolutely. I've had the same experience as I get older. Kind of emptying the cup, maybe. I mean, it's painful, but it's also, for me, it's kind of it's clarity in a way. It's like learning how much I don't know, and freedom in dropping so many biases and prejudgments and
things we think we know.
Yeah, and yes, it's also terrifying. So, but yeah, I think I get that.
Yeah, that all feels useful, but also a bit of a tangent. And no, that's okay. I guess I'm quite curious about this anxious part because it's very much still there. So, and here we are on this call, so we may as well.
Yeah.
May as well get into it.
Yeah. So you can go back to those open questions to it, or you can maybe ask if anything that we've talked about has resonated with it.
It's just a really strong sensation, and it's strange. It's kind of quivering, and it's making more of me shake, my arms and my lip. It feels very emotional, like there's tears coming when I connect to it.
Yeah. And how is that for you?
It feels okay. It doesn't feel scary. It's just noticing how strong it is.
Yeah. So let it know you're noticing all of that. That you're okay with it.
It's like it wants to be known.
Great.
I don't know how to get to its voice.
Okay. Is there anything more that you're noticing about it? Do you have a visual? Do you have any other qualities about it that you're noticing?
No, it's just very sense-based sensation rather than visual, and it's very sort of going all the way down my arms, and it's like expanding through my body and torso.
You could also let it know that it doesn't have to use its voice, that it can communicate with you in whatever way feels right for it. It can paint you a picture. It can point to a memory. It can sing, hum. It can touch.
So it's like filling up my body.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a sense like it expects to be thought of as a monster.
Right. Probably it's had that experience from other parts.
And it's not used to getting this much space.
Yeah.
To be able to occupy this much of my body.
Yeah, it's used to being shut down, pushed away, turned away.
I've been working with the idea of power. And like, if this feels like it's part, this is connected. It makes sense to me. I'll just leave it there.
Okay, great. Great.
Like my inner power, my inner fire, my fullness. And it's not used to being allowed this much room.
Right.
It has to be small and stay small and contained.
Yeah.
The part of me that has learnt to stay small and hidden. In a corner. It's learned that I don't matter. It's learned that I'm not worthy, that I'm not important. It's had to contain that fullness and bigness, because those are the things it's learned are actually true. That I don't matter, that I'm not worthy of attention.
Right. And how is it now for you and for this part, just in this space together?
It's welcoming the opportunity to occupy more space.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a sadness, the recognition of it having had to be so small and bound for so long.
Right. Yeah.
Self is meeting it in its fullness, welcoming it.
Mm-hmm.
Making it very welcome.
It's great.
It's a lot of yellow.
Hmm.
Like it fills my whole body with yellow. As it expands. It's just asking for some guidance from you.
Great. My next questions would be around understanding what it's been like for it in that feeling of having to stay small. And just witnessing
Painful.
that. Mm-hmm. And just telling it that you really want to understand that fully. What it's been like for it.
It's very grateful for the question. It feels seen and being asked. Yeah, it says it's been hard, it's been painful, but necessary.
And does it feel like you get it? Does it feel like you understand what it's been like for it? Is there more it wants to show you about that?
It's not sure that I'm listening.
It's not sure that you're listening? Okay.
It's not sure that I'm not trying to make the answers up.
Okay. Are you sure? Or is there some...
No.
Okay. Great. So yeah, let's just look out for those other parts that want to provide the answers.
I've just asked them if they're okay to just sit to the side.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fearful part coming up. There's something that's fearful of the truth of parts, fearful of what they might say.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we really can't know what a part has to share.
And when they may have tried to speak in the past, they've been silenced or something along those lines.
Right. Yeah, so there's the fear of what the part might say. There's also the fear of the backlash.
Yes.
Yeah. All makes sense to me.
I can sense the part of me that wants to like round it up now. Oh, we've got close, but let's just pull back now because that's,
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit of a pattern, of that in
Okay.
calls, like just wanting to go in, but actually trepidation.
Okay. And just so you know, I have 0 time limit on this particular call, so I got all night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Me too. So then everything's just relaxing a bit with that.
Great.
And it's also the knowledge that you are interested.
I am. Yep. Yeah.
That, it's those parts that feel like nobody cares. Nothing I have to say matters. Nothing, this same thing. I'm not worthy.
Right.
I don't matter. I'm not important.
Right. Yeah.
So they feel that you are there alongside. And so it feels like there's a kind of little support network, like
that's great.
As a group of allies here, willing to work with and support and nurture.
Absolutely. So going back, you were asking, if it feels like you get it, and it was saying, well, no, maybe there's these other parts that are coming up and wanting to give answers.
And then the fear.
Mm-hmm.
Of letting them answer.
Right. So how's the fear of letting them answer currently? And if it's still up, you could just learn more about it, see exactly what the concern is, what it would look like.
I mean, I think it just wanted to be acknowledged, its presence to be acknowledged. So
yeah.
it's happy to just sit with the others and watch for now.
And how about the feeding it answers part?
I'm just going to let it sit with the thinking part and the skeptical part, and they can chat together. It's got an eye on me. It has an eye on me, but
great.
They're just having a good old chin wag.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll see. If it shows up. So now what?
Yeah. So now we're back to witnessing this part's pain in having to stay small and checking with it that it feels like you get it.
It really wants to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And seen. It's just longing to be acknowledged. And it can feel that I am here.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to give it a try.
Great. Yeah. Tell us to give it a try. Just whatever it wants you to know. Anything it wants to show you. About itself, about its experience.
I'm not getting anything. There's no dialogue or story. And when I say I'm not getting anything, I mean words. There's a sense of energies meeting, there's a really lovely kind of expansive feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like self meeting it, this part.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. It's not saying anything.
Okay.
It's saying just give me some time.
Great.
I need to know that you're serious. That's what it's saying.
Mm-hmm.
About me.
And part of that is giving it time and not just touching in and moving on.
That's right.
Yeah.
It says I've been down here a long time. And it's just getting used to being unfurled and wants to enjoy that for a bit.
Great.
I'm just reassuring it that I'm here. And I've got lots of time.
You could ask it how long it's been down there.
So it's showing me a picture, an image of myself from a photograph when I was a child. So I can see this photograph of me in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Age. Approximate age.
7 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really trying not to add a story into it, like find the story and like, kind of introduce dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's happy for you to ask questions.
Yeah, I wish I could pass you notes and you can decide to open them or not.
I can decide by you asking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think, I do, the age thing is important, at least in my inner system. It's one of the most important questions for me when it comes to parts like this, especially.
Can you say why?
Well, I used to work in a children's hospital, and if I had, so I would look at notes, before meeting a patient, and if there was only one thing that I needed, that I could know about a kid, it would be how old they are. Like, because they got pages of notes, but the very first thing that I would look at and want to know is how old they are.
Can you say why?
Just because of the amount of information that would imply, or that I could, determine or assume, or assume about them, really, is okay. If they're this age, they've probably seen this, they probably haven't seen that, they probably have some understanding of this, not that. These type of reactions are more common than these type of reactions. So if a 13-year-old is suddenly acting like a 3-year-old, that's something I want to make a note of. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm getting 4 consistently is coming up.
You could ask it why it wanted to show you that picture of you as a child. That one in particular. What's significant to it about that?
I don't. There's nothing coming.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a caretaker part that wants to make sure that you're okay.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm very okay.
And that that it wants to take up your time, feels like a burden, doesn't,
Nope. Been looking forward to talking with you all day, and I'm very, very comfortable, very happy being here.
It wants results. It wants a win.
Sure. Yeah. And I feel like this is winning personally, but
yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah. No, me too.
Had another question. You could ask it just to show you more about it. Like, does it have a name it wants you to call it? Does it have a place that it wants to, that it feels more comfortable meeting you, or anything like that?
Okay. I think what's happening is that I think I'm sitting in self with this part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel that I know that's what feels is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then this element of the process, which is answering a question,
right,
is the problem.
Right.
So
I get that.
Yeah. So then there's the parts trying to answer, parts saying you don't know the answer, parts saying
you shouldn't answer,
no
parts saying, yep.
So I feel in self, and I can feel sitting with this part.
Right.
And then you ask a question, I ask that question, and
it all unravels, right?
Yeah.
All gets, yeah.
Or maybe it's not unravels, but it's something like I get sucked into the thinking part, or something, or the part that wants to answer the question, or this.
Yeah. That all makes sense to me.
There's a part that does not believe that there are answers inside. And as I'm saying that, I know that I've already answered some questions from that part.
And some of my questions are really dumb. Some of my questions are really dumb, and there aren't answers to them. I mean, I'm fully liable of asking questions that don't have answers, or that are self-contradicting, or just the wrong time.
It's not about your questions. It's not about your questions, so they're not dumb. It's really this. It's whatever it is. It's a block, or that's not a useful word, but there's just something doesn't believe in the process, doesn't trust the process. There's not enough something somewhere, and it's an internal issue. This is an internal system issue, not with you.
Yeah.
And
I think I
that's
get it.
Okay, actually.
It is. And I think I have the same part. And it was one of my biggest hangups about IFS altogether is even if I can acknowledge this energetic work or whatever it is, then to go further and put names and labels to it all, and to ask it its age and ask it its name and these things, then I suddenly felt like, okay, now I'm getting into this. Feels more like a fairy tale, and I wrestle with that in every conversation I have of how much am I leading the witness, conversations with callers, conversations really clear inside. Right.
Yeah. There are times when it's absolutely certain that a part is responding. Mm-hmm. So there's evidence, like there's experience of having those responses from parts.
Yeah.
So I think it's when there isn't. It's when there isn't an answer that it starts to go, okay, well, what's all this shit about then? What are you going on? What is this?
Yeah.
Nonsense fairy tale, as you say.
Yeah. And if you are in self-energy, and if you are connecting with this part, then you are way more qualified than I am to ask and to get to know it.
Well, and there is a getting to know it in the being in self-energy and being with the part. Like, we've been here before. Me sitting in presence with the part, just sitting with it.
Yes.
Is work, is doing it, is part of the healing process.
Right.
Part of changing the relationship with it.
Right.
All the kind of goals of IFS, it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's just that I'm not following this, at this moment, I'm not following that protocol or kind of,
That's right. The first time I contacted an exile and I was with a amateur practitioner, I quickly hung up and I said, okay, I can do this. Because the questions,
I can't do this.
I can do this. Because the questions weren't helping. It got to that point where it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing now. And I don't like that question, and goodbye. So.
And then you were able to continue solo.
Yes. And I'm only sharing that to say that, again, that you have that supreme authority when you're in this place. And whatever process, there's no textbook that's going to provide it any better than you can when you are in self-energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, you sharing that, and I really, for me, there's no sense of it being you asking the wrong questions. It's what's happening internally in response. It's me not trusting the answers, or when I say me, I mean a part, or it's me just not trusting the process, or whatever. There's multiple things happening at the same time.
Also, this part said, go slow, give space.
Yeah.
So we told it could share how it wanted to share.
And I wasn't sitting here, mulling it over in my head. Like there was an actual physical sense experience of being in self with this part. Like that's massive, actually, for me.
Yeah.
For me and for that part, like that's huge for it to have space. And it did that whole like filling my body, and those are massive steps. So
definitely,
the part that's judging and saying, well, come on, get to it, get to the unburdening, get to the answering the questions about age, get to it so that it has its voice, do it properly, do it right, all of that is happening. And it's all good information. It's all good stuff to learn and see.
Right.
The truth is, the times when I am most able to access self is through these calls. So that's great. I mean, it might not be great from a podcast point of view to have me sit in silence with.
That is why the podcast
but
exists, is to demonstrate people accessing self and being with parts. So that, no, I think that's exactly the purpose. And it looks different. It looks different for different people. And in a way, it looks the same.
Yeah. It's just timing. This part is saying to me, it really appreciates that it had that it was given some space to start to unfurl, and that it appreciates that I wasn't pushing it.
And what would it like from you now?
It would like me to trust it. To give it time. And it would like me to visit with it, but it doesn't completely trust that I'm going to do that. So, because it's seen me not always doing that consistently with other parts. It doesn't need anything more now.
Okay. Great.
It feels safe and comfortable.
Well, I'm happy to bookmark, and for me personally to, make that effort to revisit with this part.
Thank you. I'm wondering, I think when I try to do IFS work on my own, I do it just with my head. Like, I'm just wondering if it might be useful to have a pen and paper or something, just to not. So that might be useful to have that as a tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I've done it without pen and paper.
Mm-hmm. And do you do that writing or drawing?
Yeah. Let me revise what I just said. I'm communicating with parts often throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, when I'm proactively taking the time, have a practice, then sitting down with pen and paper. I almost always have a part that I intend to meet with, that those promises that I made in the past.
Yeah.
And I use a calendar for that. I use just like a meeting with anybody else. I would say mostly what I'm writing down when I'm meeting with parts is their responses. Just because.
So you're asking questions and writing the responses.
Right. Because I'm afraid I'll forget it, or I will kind of reinterpret it later. And I want to know in that 4-year-old's language how it said what it wanted. When I'm looking at that later, when I'm putting something on the to-do list, I want to make sure that I'm recording that accurately.
Yeah.
And then when, like you said, not coming from just from the head, when I'm in more, connect that heart connection, and maybe there isn't a whole lot to be written down, that's fine too.
Yeah, I just feel like I want to commit a bit more to them.
To commit more.
Just to show up a bit more. It doesn't feel like a heavy should part. It's just a kind of acknowledgement that it's something I'd like to try. Okay. I'm going to stop there.
Okay. If ever you want to talk about, just building the practice from a more practical point of view, or, habits and stuff, I like talking about that stuff too. Though that's,
I think because my temptation is to say, oh, tell me, but I think what I actually want to do is to try to find my way.
Yeah.
There's this thing about always going out for answers, for healing, for, there's something wrong with my body, I'm going to go to this person, they're going to fix it. There's something wrong with my mind, I'm going to go to this person, they're going to fix it. And there's something, there's some agency lost, and it feels like an important part of my process to step into my own knowledge.
Yep.
And then, share that.
Great. Okay.
It feels like it's time for me to show up for myself.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if there's any way that I can help with that, if there's any, I offered to another caller, like just more of an accountability. They send me a text, something like that. I mean, if there's any other way that I can help with that, or that comes to your mind, just let me know.
Thank you.
Some people that's helpful. Offer. Just, I checked in my part today. Okay. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, James.
Mm-hmm. It's also a lovely community on Discord.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, back at you.
Speak to you next time.
Okay, looking forward to it. Have a good night.
I've got another one booked in. Oh yeah, and I think one more or maybe two, and so yeah. Anytime you put more links out, then send me one and I can book in after that.
I will do that today.
Thank you, James.
Okay. Have a great night or day.
I will. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.